2, 3. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Test. Exclamation mark. Oop. I'm gonna reload this. 2, 3. Testing, testing. 1, 2. Well, that's trippy. Cool, cool. I can see myself. There's 2 people watching now. It might just be myself twice. Cool. Lovely. And let's add some music. All right. Hello, how are you? Today, I am going to be showing off a website that I made for a manga. It's actually a copyleft manga. It's going to be called Viable. And not a lot of people know about it. Only a few people in my friend groups know about it. And so I decided to go ahead and let everybody know about it. So, the first thing I'm going to do is show off my website that I've kind of made. So this is made using Google Sites, so it's nothing incredibly special, but yeah. So, copy left, Joshua Stevenson, Viable Manga. That's me. Hi. Hello, I am Joshua Stevenson. As a lot of you might not know, I live in Japan, and I am currently an English teacher. But what I really want to do is I want to make a manga that I make during my free time, and that's also copy left. So let's see what copy left means by clicking on the copyright here. But first, actually, let's see what the story of the manga is about. So we have Vasa, who is a USSR detective and a good one too. Due to a disastrous mistake in his career that involved the death of a young civilian, his public image was tarnished in his home country. To keep him busy while the storm blows over, his superior transferred him to work side by side with Soviet Russia's closest ally, Japan. See, this is where you get confused. Wait a second. Soviet Russia didn't have Japan as an ally at the time. But the truth is that you're right. This is an alternate history, okay? So let me show you exactly the alternate history that happens. So, in Japan, there is an event that was an assassination of a very well-known figure named Inejiro. Let me type that in. Inejiro Asanuma. So this guy, Inejiro Asanuma, he was the leader of the Japan Socialist Party. And in 1960, there was this kid named Otoya Yamaguchi. He was 17 years old, and during a live broadcast, during a live public announcement, he straight up stabbed this guy. And this man was kind of the glue that was holding the entire party together. They were very sympathetic towards the Maoist China. And they said that the United States was a shared enemy of Japan. And, yeah. So, he also often would wear a Mao suit while, yeah. And so he was a very extremist, communist, not really communist, but kind of communist. He was sympathetic towards communism. Leader of the Japan Socialist Party, which made up 2 different factions, which after he died just kind of fell apart, and it was the destruction of that party, which at the time its closest competitor was the current leading party of Japan, the LDP party, so the Liberal Democratic Party of Japan, which. So if we click on the Japan Socialist Party, it was a socialist and progressive political party in Japan. It was founded as the Social Democratic Party, similar to Bernie Sanders or other. So in the 50s, the Liberal Democratic Party, which is the current leading party, and was formed, and they've held power since basically the destruction of the Japan Socialist Party. So all that being said, a lot of politics happening. And the thing is, had this man not have died in the 60s, then it would have been likely that this new person named Eda wouldn't have kind of made it less extreme and wouldn't have caused the entire Socialist Party and the Marxist ideals to be kind of more moderate. So, yeah. So Inejiro Asanuma was assassinated by right-wing youth Otoya Yamaguchi during a televised election debate. Yes, you can find this on YouTube. Pretty brutal. It's a historic moment. It's one of the until recently with Shinzo Abe's death, I think it was one of the only assassinations in Japan. Yeah, it was a pretty crazy thing. Anyway, in my alternate history of my manga, this never happens. So Inejiro Asanuma never dies. And hello, Caleb. How are you? It's good to see you. Oh, actually, I don't know why, but my chat. Oh, there it is. Yes. Hi. So you must be wondering why I'm on the Wikipedia page for the Japan Socialist Party. But yeah, basically the idea is that for my manga that I'm making, which is Viable, the name of the manga is Viable, it's going to be set in an alternate history where the leader of the Japan Socialist Party, whose name was Inejiro Asanuma, was never assassinated by a young kid named Otoya Yamaguchi. So basically, this kid killing this guy on a public live TV debate stage with this short sword. If he never did that, then there may have been a chance that socialism or even communism would have spread throughout Japan and would have been much more influential than it is today. Right now, the LDP party, the Liberal Democratic Party, is a conservative party in Japan that is basically allows, it's much more right-leaning in Japan. It allows for like free trade and capitalism, but also corporatism, so it has its faults. But yeah, if this kid, the 17-year-old kid, had not have stabbed Inejiro Asanuma, the Socialist Democratic Party would have probably gained a lot more power and a lot more seats during this time in the parliament of Japan. And yeah, he died, and so basically the party crumbled, and he was the glue that was holding it together. And so in my alternate history, which was not actually thought up by me, but by my friend Ben, who was also supposed to be a part of writing the story for this manga, but over time he eventually just, I guess he just stopped being interested in writing, which is fine. We were all busy at the time, and when I asked him to help me write it, but he's the one who came up with the idea for the background of this. Yeah. So anyway, it is a very strong historic moment that prevented socialism from spreading throughout Japan, similar to communism spreading in China. So anyway, Inejiro Asanuma, he died. He was killed by a 17-year-old, kind of a right-wing nationalist named Otoya Yamaguchi. And while it was widely criticized by the leading party of the LDP, there's a lot of nationalists who think, oh, well, if this never happened, then, he basically saved Japan from communism, this kid. So my alternate history of this is, that's basically Ben's alternate history of this. He wrote it into my story when he was still working on the project, was that this never happened, right? So Japan became communist, and that now it's less of a tension between China and Japan, and more of a tension between America and Japan during this story that I'm making, called Viable. So, Viable. This is the name of my my manga that I eventually want to make into a webcomic, or a manga or whatever, and it's copyleft. So, copyleft implies that it is not copyright, but it is copyright. So let's see what that exactly means. So copyleft just basically means it's a free work. You can copy, distribute it, modify it, do whatever you want with it under the terms of the free art license. And this actually is kind of funny. The reason why I'm doing this is because I believe that that copyright is a monopoly, which is true. It is a small monopoly made specifically for whoever owns the IP for the copyright. And so for me, I don't like copyright. I think it's a little too restrictive. And as a person who was trying to do a lot of fan dubs in high school, as a person who was doing a lot of things, creatively growing up, I didn't really enjoy the fact that I had to skirt over a lot of copyright stuff, particularly if Caleb, you can probably relate to this. If there's like Nintendo or, when you're playing video games and they like, oh, you got to copyright strike everything. And that's just very annoying. So I'm basically preemptively letting everyone use my work for free and make money off it if they want to for free, so long as they credit me. And that's what copyleft means. So first of all, sometimes if you're on this website, which by the way, if let me show you something real quick. If I go on this website in an incognito tab, Chrome incognito. Oh, nope, did not want to do that. Yeah, it's actually the opposite. Yeah. So if I open an incognito tab and I go to full screen it. If I go to the website www.viablemanga.com, which is the name of the manga, you have to sign in to see it. So it's not really. Oh, thank you. It's not really available for the public yet, but I'm showcasing what website I made so far. It's a very private thing right now, but I'll show you why I'm going to be releasing it later. It's because hopefully, I gotta go back to this one. Hopefully, I'll have finished chapter 1, and then I can start chapter 2. And so I want to publish this website when chapter 1 is finished. Anyway, so copyleft. Yes, thank you. It is a very neat idea. I really like it. Copyleft has been. So let's just go through the Q&A that I wrote for my website about the copyright information. Basically, you can't copyright strike me on my own work because this is still mine. It is still technically copyright, but you're allowed to make money off of my copyright. I don't care, right? So it's like, for example, Q, I can't see the copyleft symbol. Well, okay, so this copyleft symbol is like an inverted copyright symbol, okay? But since being available since 2018, it's not in a lot of fonts. So Arial doesn't use it. Times New Roman doesn't have it, which is crazy to me. They should update it. But it's basically a mirrored copyright symbol. And to see it on your browser, you would just need to download the source serif font to your device, so your computer or your, and then just reload your browser. Which is one of the few fonts that use copyleft. So what is copyleft? Copyleft is a licensing agreement designed with freedom in mind. Copyleft allows for copying, distribution, and modification of a work, whether or not it is for monetary gain. Unlike the public domain, copyleft requires that the original copyright holders, which is me, are credited, and that every derivative work is also copyleft. Okay? So that means that if you, for example, make a fan dub of my manga, then you need to make that fan dub copyleft, which means everyone else is also allowed to take what you made and then basically paste it anywhere, right? Copy it and paste it. So this is not only a way for people to be able to make things with freedom in mind, but it's also anyone can copy it so long as they credit you and me. So that is the idea. I care more about the credit of things. Credit, Josh credit, do not steal. But please steal, take it. You can have it, I don't care. Just credit me, right? So that's the idea of copyleft. So the type of copyleft license that I'm using is called the free art license, which is actually French, but they have an English version of it. It's used specifically for art, and it allows people to freely copy, distribute, and transform the creative works of without infringing on the author's rights. So you're basically allowed to do all this stuff. And yes, exactly. Interesting. That's a cool idea. Basically what a lot of the internet already does, just with more credit. I couldn't have worded that better myself. Yes, so copyleft is basically what the internet already does, just with more credit. And so the legal aspect of it is basically if you do this without crediting me, then I have the legal right to sue you. And I say you didn't follow the terms of the licensing agreement that I have given you. So that's it, though. You know, you can basically do anything else with it, and you can make money off of it, right? So a for-profit corporation can make a video game based off of my manga if they want, and then as long as they credit me, which the credit will include a link to my website, right? So you should include the entirety of this. It says, copyleft Joshua Stevenson, viable 2023, source viablemanga.com, which is the name of the manga, right? Which is where I'll be hosting the manga. And I'm making this on Google Sites, so it's not really the most secure place, but you know, it's the bare minimum, right? So it's fine, it's cool. So yeah, so if you have me living in Japan has really gotten my L's mixed up. You have full permission to copy, distribute, and or modify Viable for both commercial and non-commercial purposes, right? So for example, if you're a church and you want to use Viable for some reason as a part of your advertising, you can. I don't care. Just credit me, right? So just copyleft Joshua Stevenson, viable.2023, source viablemanga.com. If you want to make a mural, right? That's fine. Just include the copyright information somewhere. And the same with the video. If you want to make a video, just include the copyright information in the description of the video. You don't even have to have it in the video itself, so long as it's tied to the video, right? And if you don't, let's say you took a copy of something and you didn't include that information, then I can sue you, and it's, you know, because you didn't do it. You're supposed to do it, right? Credit people. But yeah, so the terms are basically, you have full permission to copy, distribute, and modify Viable for both commercial and non-commercial purposes. If you want to take my manga, make books of it, you totally can, and you can sell them too. You can make custom prints if you want, like make your own cover, and you can chop it up and do whatever. I don't care. So this can be done by clearly including this text within your copy or derivative work. So copyleft Joshua Stevenson, and then include the link to the free art license. So your derivative being copyleft means that you give everyone full permission to copy, distribute, and or modify your derivative work as well. So if you copy my thing, you give people permission to copy your thing. It's fair. Failure to follow the terms of the free art license is considered copyright infringement. Okay, so you are infringing on my rights if you do not credit me, and other people would be infringing on your rights if they did not credit you. Okay, so what steps do I need to take in order to make my derivatives copyleft? Do I need to register it anywhere? Well, in the United States, which is pretty cool, where most of my audience lives, which is just Caleb right now, because I haven't streamed in years. In the United States, copyright exists from the moment a work is created. So you create something and the copyright of it exists, right? Your derivative of Viable is copyrighted, whether it is published or unpublished, and you don't need to register your copyright material with the government in order for that copyright to be valid. However, because your derivative is in fact a derivative of another copyrighted material, your derivative of Viable, which is my manga, while still copyrighted by you, can easily infringe on the exclusive rights given to Viable itself by its own copyright, which is not owned by you, right? So you make a fan art of, let's say, Mario, right? If you make a fan art, or if you make a video game even of Mario by Nintendo, that's copyrighted by you, but that copyright infringes on the other copyright of Nintendo, which is why they're allowed to take down whatever you do, right? Which sucks, because you made something creative and awesome, and the original owners want to protect their copyright, and so they prevent you from publishing, whether or not it's for free, right? And that's a bummer. I do not like that. So in order to circumvent my exclusive rights for Viable, you need to be given permission to do so from the original copyright holder, which is me. And I've given you that permission. Yay! So, I've given you that permission preemptively through the copyleft licensing agreement. So as long as you credit me and also preemptively give that same permission to everyone else for your own derivative work, you just need to follow the agreement. Alright, so let's see what Caleb asked. So if you made Viable and someone credited you and made a movie, and I wanted to take that movie and make a book, would I be crediting the original work or just crediting the movie, right? I think you are explaining this as I type this out. Actually, I haven't explained it yet. So, yes. Let me scroll down to that part of the thing. Okay. We're almost there. Okay. So you just need to follow the agreement. If Viable is copyleft, does that mean I can make money off of fan art? Yes, you can. A-okay. How can I make money with copyleft if anyone can copy my work? And that's the main issue with copyright, right? That's the reason why copyright exists, why the monopoly of copyright exists, is so that way you can make money and people just can't steal it and make money before you, right? But we live in the modern day, my dudes. We live in the time of fundraising and of how do I get in on this pyramid scheme? Shush. Okay, so we live in the modern day where yes, it is an agreement. This pyramid agreement. We live in the modern day where we have fundraising, we have Patreon, we have all these different ways of making an income before we finish our stream. No, before we before we even publish the things that we're making, right? There's Kickstarter, there's Patreon, in my case, what I'm going to be using is Fundraiser. Okay, so Fundraiser is a website. I'm not saying like fundraising. I'm gonna go door to door and ask people to pay for my manga. No, there's a website called Fundraiser that I'm going to be using for to make money off of my manga. So I would recommend using the same model that I'm using for Viable. Earn money through production rather than distribution. Okay, so you can do this through commissions and or crowdfunding. So a commission, for example, if someone commissions you to make an artwork of Lucy, who's a character from Viable, then they'll pay you before you make it or before you give it to them, right? So that is an example of making money without, and then after they get they should know that it has to be able to be copied and it has to be able to be distributed freely. Technically, you could put it behind a paywall, which is what I'm doing. But anyway, blah 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 blah. So, commission or crowdfunding, so Kickstarter or Patreon. While it's possible to make money through distribution as well, so distribution is like whenever you put it in stores and different things. It may be more competitive to do that than non-copyright works. So there's going to be people who basically take your artwork of my character and put it on t-shirts and sell it. And there's nothing you can do about that because it's copyleft and anyone should be allowed to do that, right? Which, you know, to most people is like, oh, that's unfair. That sucks. That's my artwork. The thing is, they have to include your copyleft information and mine whenever they sell the stuff. So in that sense, it's free advertising because you can have your website as a part of your copyleft information. And that could include your Patreon, which has things behind a paywall. That could include a Kickstarter, that basically anything, right? So mine is the viablemanga.com, which is what I'm going to include my fundraiser on, which is pretty cool. So you can make money that way. And you can also sell the t-shirts yourself. You can make little dolls or like a teddy bear or like a thingy over there, and you can sell them yourself, right? It's not preventing you from selling your own stuff. It's just that, you know, obviously Chinese websites are going to be like, oh, let's put this on a shirt and then let's sell it for very cheap, and that's fine. I think that's actually really good for the consumer because they're allowed to buy very cheap products, very high quality cheap products, which is, you know, not necessarily a bad thing. So anyway, since you will be credited, it is important to note that you will also be credited whenever people sell your derivative works. And if you provide a website where they can find your original fan art, they are also required to include that as a part of the copyleft information. If they don't include this information, it's considered copyright infringement. And you are allowed to sue them for damages, right? Yes, I really hope it works. This is kind of a proof of concept. I haven't really made my manga yet. I've made the idea for the manga, and my friend Ben has helped me out a lot. And he was actually originally planning on writing the manga, but that didn't fall through. He got a lot busier, and so yeah. And I think he's going to do law school soon, so I don't think he'll even have time, like, at all generally to do anything. But he helped me a lot with coming up with the world of my manga, and I really appreciate him for that. Anyway, so you'll be credited, and your derivatives of Viable are going to be freely available to copy, modify, and distribute, and that can be good for your advertising and your other financial endeavors. Maybe your artwork's source location is your Patreon account. Maybe it leads to your merchandising website where they can get the image printed on different items. The possibilities are endless, I think, right? So we're basically getting rid of one, which is the distribution. We're basically cutting that and making it free for everyone to do, right? So anyone can do it. But we still have the exclusive rights to have it be advertised to our website, so that way more people know about it and more people can commission you, or more people can do this, yada yada yada. So what I'm going to do with my manga is I'm literally going to be posting it to pirate websites, because it's not piracy, but I'm going to be posting it anywhere, and it's a legal thing for me to do, and people can make translations of it in different languages, in Japanese for example, and they can even do this for this website itself. I can make it to where they have on the screen is over here, which is why I pointed this way. But I can make it to where they help me translate the website, and then I just reposted it on my own website and different things like that. Same with the manga. I can post their translation of my manga to my own website because it's copyleft. I just need to credit them. That's it, right? So very cool, very epic, very red-pilled and based. So can I use copyleft characters? Can I use non-copyleft characters in fan works of Viable? So, for example, can I use Goku in my Viable fan comic? Unfortunately, unless you own it, right? But even then, no. So if the work itself is a derivative of Viable, meaning that it's based in the world of Viable, the characters of Viable, the story of Viable, then anything that is included within the copyleft derivative also needs to be copyleft. So, for example, the copyleft version of Goku could be different from the main version of Goku, but you also have to own the copy. So if you're Akira Toriyama and you want to make Goku collaborate with Viable, then that version of Goku that is in that world, I don't know why you would do that. It's kind of a silly idea, but if you want to do that, Akira Toriyama, you can, but you need to make that version of Goku copyleft, right? So as soon as you do that, that allows people to make their own versions of that version of Goku. And so you need to be used, so your non-copyleft characters, they need to be copyleft in the story that you're writing or in whatever you're doing, right? So if the work itself is a derivative of Viable, anything that is included within copyleft derivative needs to be subject to the same or equivalent license. So that means, by equivalent, it means it needs to be in the public domain, or it needs to be copyleft. So public domain is a little different than copyleft, but yeah. So if using a non-copyleft character to copy, modify, or distribute the derivative of viable without completely replacing or excluding the copyrighted character from the derivative, this would make it impossible for the derivative to be truly copyleft, which is why doing so is not allowed, right? Copyleft Goku can beat copyright Goku in a fight easy. Absolutely. This means that if you use your original character in a derivative of viable, you need to make the character copyleft before you're allowed to implement them. This is also true for music, footage, and vocal performances, amongst other things, right? Which is a bummer, because, you know, corporations are less likely to make stuff because they don't see a reason to include their copyrighted characters because they think it's too risky to suddenly make it copyleft, right? So it's unlikely that I'll have a corporation or a collaboration with a Shonen Jump, for example. You know, it's very unlikely. Can I include Viable's character in my original copyrighted works? Yes, you can. So your version of Viable's characters will also need to be copyright though, okay? Or copyleft. Yeah. So your version of Viable's characters would also need to be copyleft. So let's say you're a game company named Nintendo, and you want to include Viable's characters and a stage based on Viable setting in your fighting game, Mega Smack Bros. Conquest. So here's what you would need to include in the credits. You need to include copyleft Joshua Stevenson, Viable, 2022, the Lucy and Vasa characters in USSR-influenced Japan stage, all of which are derivatives of Viable, are copyleft Nintendo, Mega Smack Quest, Smack Bros. Actually, I need to change this. This is 2022. So I've been actually working on this since 2022, since before I went to Japan. So I need to change that. But that's 2023. And then you put the source to the game's website. And then you write copyleft. This is a free work. You can copy, modify, distribute it under the free art license. So what this means is that people can copy, distribute, and modify Nintendo's versions of Viable's characters and stage. This includes any vocal performances, sound effects, animation, costumes, etc., made specifically for the characters or stage, so long as they give me and Nintendo credit. This does not give them permission to copy, distribute, or modify anything else in the game, right? So if they had their character Jario in it, right, but the character had his own vocal performances and all that stuff, that's not copyleft, that's copyright. The only thing that's copyleft is the 3D model, the voice acting, the music, the stage of Viable's characters. So you can include my copyleft character in your copyright thing. It's just that anything related to that copyleft character would need to be copyleft as well. So that is that. Do I have to give you a percentage of money I make off of my fan works? Nope, you can keep it. It's yours, 100%. However, I will gladly accept any percentage you decide to give me. I think that while advertising your derivative work, you can use "We support the original artists" tagline to give you an edge against the competition. But make sure that you're actually supporting the original artist if you're saying that you're doing so, because it's fraud if you don't, right? So there's my email, yay. If you'd like to skip the formalities, you can just put money straight into my PayPal, which whenever this site goes live, you'll be able to do. Why did I decide to use copyleft? When I was in high school, I wanted to make fan dubs of anime on YouTube, and copyright laws and fair use doctrine were legal gray areas that stressed me out more than it should have. I never knew if my channel would be deleted. Many of you guys know that I tried to make a fan dub of Nisekoi. I got 2 episodes done before the whole thing fell through because of copyright infringement. So that was not fun. Also, there were voice actors and actresses in that fan dub that wanted to become, like, not blacklisted from the industry because they wanted to become voice actors and actresses for copyrighted works. And so I had to basically shut that down, right? Bye-bye, Nisekoi. And that stressed me out. I didn't like that. So I decided to make Viable copyleft because I did not want the fans of my work to be stressed out about copyright laws when creating derivative works. I want them to be creative and even make money doing what they love to do. So I also believe that the core of capitalism is competition. Oh, So many people would think, oh, you're copy left, you're anti-capitalist, that you don't like copyright. I think, so yeah, so yes, China, a communist country, doesn't have copyright, but they're communist, and the reason they don't have copyright is because everything belongs to the state. So this is completely different. The reason why I disagree with copyright is because it is a monopoly for one person, right? It is a small scale monopoly for one person. And I don't like that, you know, Disney, for example, is able to basically cease and desist a kid who made a Cinderella, you know, crayon thing. I don't like that, right? So I believe the core of capitalism is competition. Yeah. The more competition there is, the better the products are for the consumer. Copyright itself is sort of a monopolistic regulation, in my opinion, and copyleft allows for people to possibly make better versions of my work and sell it. At the same time, though, it forces people to give credit and allows others to make derivatives of their work, which is super cool. So, yeah. Why didn't you just put viable into the public domain? So I like the idea of the public domain, but if I put viable there, people would be able to copyright their versions of my characters and prevent other people from making derivatives of their versions of my copyright. So, which is not my copyright if it's in the public domain because it's the public's copyright, right? But for example, Cinderella is in the public domain, yeah? But Disney's version of Cinderella is copyrighted. Disney has the legal right to do a DMCA takedown on a little girl who made fan art of the Disney version of Cinderella, even though the Disney version of Cinderella is technically a fan art of the Grimm's fairy tale version, which is technically a fan fiction of the Egyptian folktale Rhodopis. This does not sit right with me, right? So I'm not a big fan of making people wait 70 years after the death of the author before they're legally able to create fan art of fan art. So that's my anti-Disney spiel. Is there anything that I'm not allowed to make? Oh, will you... I skipped one. Will you advertise my fan works and or products on your website? Sure. Just send them to me, you know? I want to make an alternate universe section of my website where I advertise fan fiction, videos, and fan manga of Viable that I like. I also want to have a merchandise section for the products of Viable that I like as well. I'll make a page for you on this website, and I might ask you to send me the product because, you know, I'm a broke teacher salary guy living in Japan. But yes, be prepared for that. Is there anything I am not allowed to make? You're allowed to make anything so long as it's legal in the country that you're from, and be sure to give credit and make your derivative copyright work. Personally, though, I hate pornography, right? And while I can't stop people from doing so, please understand that if they make pornography or pornographic derivatives of my work, I think they're disgusting, yeah. Also understand I am not responsible for any derivative that is illegal in certain countries, which can include, but is not limited to, child pornography, depictions of religious figures, graffiti, etc., etc. So I'm only responsible for what I have personally published. Can I upload your manga to another website? Sure. And you can make money off of it too. Just keep in mind that I won't upload any more chapters of my manga to this website until my crowdfunding campaign for the next chapter has reached its goal. If you like, you can advertise the fundraiser to get more people on board. Be sure to include my copyleft information. Derivatives of Viable need to have both my copyleft information and your copyleft information. So that's the answer to your question, Caleb. It does need to have both of their copyleft informations. But copies only need to include my copyleft information. If you're simply re-uploading the manga to your website or social media, you only need to do the latter. You only need to include my copyleft information. Can I translate your manga? Sure, that's fine. Be sure to give credit and make your translation copyleft as well by providing your copyleft information. Email me at this email, and so I can get your help translating this website too. So yeah, that's the copyleft information page that I have. Let's get into the story of Viable. Also, I have a blog page, which I haven't actually, says coming soon. I haven't got anything there. But yeah, the characters. So Viable is about this character named Vasa. I really don't like this drawing, and actually, I want to change it, but it was a part of the cover that I made, which I'll show later. But Vasa, he's a USSR detective, and a good one too. Due to a disastrous mistake in his career that involved the death of a young civilian, his public image was tarnished to his home country. Sorry, I can't read such a tiny street. To keep him busy while the storm blows over, his superior transferred him to work side by side with Soviet Russia's closest ally, Japan. So in this world, Japan is the USSR's closest ally. And this is in the 80s. So this is like 20 years after the assassination attempt of Inejiro Asanuma. A foreigner in a strange new land, Vasa begrudgingly works with the local policemen to both solve crime and intercept any coup attempts against the current ruling party, the Nihon Shakai To, also known as the Japan Socialist Party. Alright, so down here, Lucy! This spunky 6-year-old girl suddenly appeared one day while Vasa was working on a case. He quickly finds out that he's the only one capable of seeing her. Is she a ghost? A mental manifestation of his trauma? Either way, she is able to help him visualize things that would otherwise be impossible. After all, she's only in his head. But that is the characters for Viable so far. The first chapter is going to include them as well as the policewoman character. And whenever I publish the manga, I have the chapter, the downloads. So this downloads would include a bunch of different stuff. But let's go ahead and look at the chapter first. It says, how would you like to read? Scrolling or flipping? So this is more of a webtoon sort of way. Let's scroll down. You just scroll and scroll and scroll, right? And then continue into chapter 2. And then when you click on next chapter, it just takes you back to this one, chapter 2. In order to make it freely copy, here's my fundraiser. So click over here to invest in my fundraiser. But there's also the flipping way. And here, if you click right, it'll say you're going the wrong way. So you need to go left because mangas read right to left, right? So we read this right to left, we read this right to left, read this right to left, right to left, right to left, right? So that's how you would read this manga on my website. You just click on the chapter. Alternatively, you can go to the download page where you can download the chapter, but not only download the chapter, but also download the Krita document. Krita is a freeware that I use to draw, right? And so I have the rough drafts that I'll include here whenever I do that. This is just for chapter 1. I have the miscellaneous art, which includes the volume 1 cover. I have a 3D model that I made. It includes the blend file. It includes the images, the GIFs. You're fine, Caleb. So here's a 3D model of Lucy that I made, including her other stuff. If I can load it. Yeah. So here's the 3D model of Lucy I made. If you want to use her in a video game, you can just take this 3D model and use it. I use this to practice my own 3D modeling stuff and maybe make a video game or videos based off of it, which is pretty fun. And of course, this is a very beginner 3D model, so the texturing is really bad, but it's okay. It's very low poly anyway. So yeah, that's something there. And then there is just this, yeah, so that's the image of that. Yeah, and that's a different face. So this is the 3D model of Lucy that I posted on my Instagram a while ago. This is an image of the cover. And as you can see, it includes Ben as a part of the writing because at the time he was supposed to be the writer, but I'm going to change that, make it to where it's just Josh. I'm going to keep this as it is though, just to show that Ben was involved with the writing at one point. And yeah, I'll go from there. So yeah, Ben is no longer involved with the project. He'll be, unless he wants to be, he can jump in at any time, I don't care. But I'll be writing it, and that's what I really want to do. So there's that, and then here's the Krita file for it. So you can just literally download this, and I'll actually open the file right now. You can literally download this and then open it on Krita, and you can edit it all yourself, right? And so let me just do that real quick. So yeah, here's Krita, which is basically the Photoshop of all this. And here's all of the layers and everything. So if you just want like a picture of just Lucy, for example, you can hide, oh, that's not good. You can hide all of the things for Vasa, the cover, and then boom, there's just Lucy, right? With a transparent background. You can do the same for Vasa. So boop, boop, and you can hide the shadow if you want. Right, I don't really like this, so I'm actually gonna be redrawing this. Hi, Mary! So I'm actually gonna be redrawing this because I don't really like this image of Vasa. His hands are way too big, his proportions are way off. I drew this years ago. Yeah, I'm gonna be remaking the cover. But I also included not only that, but the line art for the character as well. So here's the line art. There's the colored line art. There's the color. And so there's just Vasa. And then there's Lucy. You can also have an empty cover if you want. So, where's Lucy? Yeah, so if you want, you can just like get rid of all of the elements. Or you can make it 3D by having all the layer stuff and making it like a video, like a panoramic 3D thing. You can do a lot, there's a lot of different ideas that you can do if you want to make something of the cover. And I'll be including this for every page as well. I'll be including the sketches, I'll be including the line art, I'll be including all this stuff, all the layers. So I'm going to be including both the actual picture of the cover as well as the different layers that you can use for your projects if you want. So I'm trying to make it as open as possible for the copyleft people who want to be creative. Here, I made so the symbolism here, right? Lucy is not in the real world, right? So only Vasa can see her, and so he has a shadow, but she doesn't. See, that's pretty neat. Yeah. So it's kind of a silly concept, but I like the idea for the cover, especially for Volume 1. And I have a lot of different ideas and symbolism that I want to include in the story as a whole. And it'll be fun. It'll be great. I want it to be very awesome. So that's what I'm going to do there. So let's go back to the website. Yes, so this would be the Krita file. And then I also included just the cover pose in case people don't want to look at the Krita file and open up the layers. And here's the concept of Vasa that I drew. I like this drawing a lot better. He looks more like a model here, but yeah. Thank you, Caleb, thank you. And this is Lucy. She's so cute. She's as cute as a button. I love her. I love this character design. All right, so that is my ideas for Viable. And everybody can, it'll include the rough drafts, which I haven't made yet, and it'll include the finished pages, and the cover art and the miscellaneous stuff, including the 3D stuff, 3D model is in the miscellaneous art thing. And this is all available. It's anyone with the link can view and download, and so they can do whatever they want with it. And it'll just take them to the drive, and yeah, that's it. So, can I make that a new tab, or do I have to go back? Probably have to go back. No, I made it a new tab. Okay. Anyway, so there's that. Then there's the fundraiser campaign. And so the idea is that whenever I get chapter 1 done, I'll be able to work on chapter 2. Chapter 1 will basically be the equivalent. Yes, she is so stinking cute. I love it. She's very like spunky. The idea is that once I finish chapter 1, which would be the equivalent of 3 chapters, because it'll be the very first introductory chapter, it'll be about 75 pages. And pages is like one page, and then you turn the page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 75 total for the first chapter. And then every chapter after that would be 25 pages. Okay, I'll be releasing the first chapter for free whenever I'm finished with it, and every chapter after that would be probably, let me see. Every chapter after that would be 25 pages, give or take. So if you were to make a book, the first volume would be about 6 chapters to make it 200 pages long, and the second volume would be 8 chapters. So with 25, 50, 75, 100, yeah. So that would be 8 chapters to be 200 pages long, and each volume would be about 200 pages long. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of symbolism and a lot of meaning, but it's all going to be hidden behind a very good story. So here's my fundraiser page. As you can see, not launched. I can launch it, but I won't do it because I haven't even finished chapter 1. So whenever I finish chapter 1, I'm going to launch this. It's going to have an $8,000 goal, which I think is pretty reasonable. I do not expect everyone to be paying $8,000 per chapter, like out of their pocket. Here, take my money. Shut up and take my money. I don't expect people to do that. I expect people to maybe donate $5 or $10 and accumulate up to $8,000 within the course of maybe 4 months or maybe a year. You know, I don't expect it to be like, wow, this is so popular, everyone loves it and wants to see the next chapter. So my expectation of it is that currently, as a teacher in Japan, I'm making roughly $24,000 a year, which is, when you convert that to yen, it's better, because living in Japan is cheap, much cheaper than you would expect. The food here is cheap. You can buy McDonald's that I would normally get for like $12 in America, I get for like 6. The yen is very, the yen compared to the dollar is much lower here. And so it's actually a good place to vacation if anyone's interested. Because everything's a lot cheaper than you would expect. So, for me, getting 8,000 American dollars, and I made this whenever I was living in America. So there's where the campaign is, even though I'm in Japan right now. Yes. So the idea is that whenever I finish the first chapter, it's probably going to take a long time for me to do it anyway, because it's the equivalent of 3 chapters. I do not expect me to finish this year. I'll definitely maybe not even finish it next year. But yes, vacation, I say. I don't know why, but for some reason the chat over here stopped. But yes, Caleb says it's a great idea. Good to go into it to find a way to help support it for sure. And he says, vacation, you say? Yeah. So vacation, very good place to vacate. The only issue is the initial cost of getting here, which is about $1,500. Very expensive to fly here. But if you're here for about a month, being here would cost a lot less than you would expect. For example, for my rent here, I live in this little apartment, and it costs me. Actually, let me look up exactly how much it is in dollars, because yen is a lot different. So it's about 80,000 yen. Let me see how much that is in USD. I pay about $531 a month on rent for this little apartment that I have, which is in the middle of Shinjuku. Not to dox myself, but like that is insanely cheap in one of the most busiest and bustling places on the planet. So yeah, $530 a month for that is really good. So for me, getting $8,000 for one chapter of a comic, not only is it, understandable, right? Because most people who make comics in Japan, they're barely able to make ends meet. And so, yeah, and same with like animators and different things, they don't get a lot of money. And so to make money off of it, and I own the copyright, I own everything, but the advertising of it is going to be insane because anyone can republish it, they can upload it anywhere, make money off of it. Yeah. And so it is very, very cheap. And so for me, $8,000, that's the equivalent to about, let's see, if it's about $500 a month, then $8,000 would be about a year's worth of rent. So if I can make that much off of one chapter, that's pretty good, pretty darn good. And here's another thing. I don't have a lot of time to work on it, right? I'm working as an English teacher in Japan. And so a majority of the time I'll be spending here in Japan is at a school. And so for me to, you know, take less hours at the school and start working part-time there and doing this more full-time, I think $8,000 is a pretty good, you know, goal to have. So let me think about that. So 8 times 2 is 16. So yeah, 16 months of rent is $8,000. That's pretty good. And so I don't expect this to be accomplished in 1 month. I don't expect this to be accomplished in a year even. And so if it happens quicker than a year, I would be satisfied with the amount of money that I make off of this. So, and the idea also is that if it's not a good manga, then people won't invest in it. And, you know, that's perfectly okay. The manga just ends. It just dies into the ether of the internet for me to come up with my next project and do something else in a similar manner. So it's kind of a way to gauge how good the manga is as well. So how well I've made it. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, here's the information. It's a lot of the same. I said, so the story of this fundraiser is, as an artist and a fan of anime and manga, I had no idea I was committing copyright infringement when I was a kid. All I wanted to do is make fan-based works without having giant corporations breathing down my neck. Unfortunately, I had many DMCA takedown notices as a result of my enthusiasm for fan-based works. While I understand the corporation's policies and their monetary incentives to protect their copyrights, I'm of the opinion that allowing people to create derivatives and even monetize their derivatives can provide an insane amount of free marketing to the original copyright holder's work. With the advertising from fans of the series, copyright holders can earn more money than they ever thought possible. Enter copyleft. Copyleft is a licensing agreement with the freedom in mind. It allows for copying, modification, and distribution of a work, whether commercial or non-commercial, so long as the one agreeing to the license credits the original copyright holder and makes their derivatives copyleft as well. It's a really interesting idea that derived from software developers wanting to keep their code completely free and impossible to be copyrighted by other entities, which can happen in the public domain. The question, however, is how on earth can a copyright holder make a decent income whenever anyone can simply copy their work and upload it somewhere else? My solution? Crowdfunding. Whenever I finish my 25-page-long chapters, they aren't immediately released to the public. The idea is that if people find my manga interesting enough and want to continue reading, they can invest in a crowdfunding campaign to release the next chapter. Not only will they be investing in the next chapter that they want to read, but they will also be investing in the next chapter that they can modify themselves and profit off of. Imagine people making fan videos, fan art, fan music, and more, but also making money off of it. That sounds like a wonderful thing to me. So, with all that being said, I appreciate any support you give. Thank you. I think that's a pretty good pitch for Viable Chapter 2. But in order for me to launch it, I need to finish Chapter 1. And so that's what I want to do. So this is called Fundraiser. This website is Fundraiser. I like Fundraiser because unlike Patreon or unlike Kickstarter, you can fund anything. Unlike Patreon, which is a subscription-based thing, so every time you upload something, people will pay, or every month, people will pay a certain thing. Or Kickstarter, which is more based on startups for companies and other things, and you have to have a time limit. Fundraiser is just a fundraising platform, and they don't care if it's for nonprofits, which other fundraising platforms do care that it has to be for nonprofits. This one doesn't care if it's for nonprofits, personal fundraising, sports teams, crowdfunding as a service, so for business, art, music, and film, school projects, social enterprises, corporate social responsibility, right? So they don't care. They just let you fundraise whatever, and it's a great platform to use for that, I think. And so for me, that's the perfect thing. I can make money off of it without having to worry about the issues of going against what the website allows, right? I don't have to worry about, for example, having this finished in a certain amount of time. I can leave this launched for the rest of its, lifespan, and then all of a sudden in 2030 or something, someone was like, oh, by the way, it's finished. It's been crowdfunded. Go make chapter 2. And I'd be like, okay, I'm 30 years older now, but I guess I'll make chapter 2. I'd be okay with that because, hey, that means people like the manga enough and it became a cult classic and people can fundraise it now. So yeah, and it's good advertisement for this fundraiser whenever you put it on all these other websites and different things with my copyleft information. So that's the idea. And if it gets so popular that I can't meet demand, which I do not expect, then I'd probably have to raise the goal. So let's say people are like, I love this chapter, I want the next one now, and then some big donor donates $8,000 and I have to make it immediately. I would probably raise the goal to be like 10,000 or 15,000 just so that way I can slow down and actually work on it, right? But anyway, that's the idea. There's different thoughts and different things that I can do. So yeah, that's the pitch. That's the campaign. Really fun, really cool. And so for the next, 30 minutes or so, what time is it? For me, it's almost 11. There should be a delivery coming to my room soon. My apartment, pretty soon. And so I'm pretty excited for that. Because it is my grandmother's koseki, which is her family register. And so that I'll have a doorbell ringing probably pretty soon. They said they'd deliver it in the morning, telling me that I'll be that my koseki is delivered, and that way I can renew my visa. So because I'm living on an ancestry visa in Japan, not a work visa. So technically, this could be my full income if I wanted it to be. I don't need to work as an English teacher. I'd probably still work even if I did make most of my money off of this, just so that, I love the kids there and the school's fun. But I think that, I think that if I make enough money doing manga, that'd be the dream. So, yep, there we go. So that's my website. That's my my ideas. That's pretty much all I have. Yeah. Very fun, very cool. So next, I'm gonna just start writing. Yeah. I'm gonna start writing my my manga. So let's switch to Google Docs. Google Docs. Here we go. Hello, this is Google Docs. Welcome. We're gonna call this Viable Chapter 1. I had caps locks on. I didn't even know it. Viable Chapter 1. Alright, and we're gonna have it in Korea to make it look more like a typey thing. Viable Chapter 1. Yay, it looks all professional. Alright, so this is gonna be basically the timeline. So, let's get into the story of Viable. Viable has characters in it, so let's go ahead and write that out. Characters. Thank you, Caleb. I'm excited too. And I'm kind of doing this kind of casually. Basically, I'm going to be probably streaming my story writing process and stuff to your Thursday, my Friday. So your Thursday morning, my Friday afternoons. Right now, it's probably like 7 p.m. for you right now. And it's Thursday. For me, it's almost 11 a.m. on Friday. I'm in the future. But anyway. So the characters of Viable, they're going to be Vasa, Vasqua, and Lucy. Let me do character descriptions. So Vasa is a detective. Vasa is a detective for the USSR, and a good one too. Actually, I can just copy and paste what I put on my website. Okay. Characters. USSR detective and a good answer. And pop. Oh, it's white. Oh no. Oh no. Courier. We're gonna make this black. How do I do that? 8 p.m. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you, Caleb, as always. Very lovely man. Where's the color? Here it is. No, that's highlight. This one. Aha, black. And boop, boop. And this is bold. I don't know why it's bold. Let's make it not bold. There we go. Let's make him bold. Let's make this bold. Boop. Boop. Okay. Then we have... Why is that bold? I don't want it bold. Okay. Then we have Lucy. No. Ah! Lucy. Bold. No. Bold. No. Bold. Yay! Okay. Then we have Lucy. This spunky kid. Spunky 6-year-old girl suddenly appeared one day as Vasa. Blah blah blah. Okay, got Bree Seraph. Like that. Well, not Bree Seraph, Courier. Cute. Alright. Nice. Cool. So those are the characters. Let's talk about the plot. Oh, there's also this other character that I have. Her name is Hana. And she's a policewoman in Japan. So the poster child of the Japanese of the socialists. What was the party called again? It was called the Japan Socialist Party. Okay. A poster child of the Japan Socialist Party. She's a poster child of the Japan Socialist Party's inclusion initiative, right? Because they're socialists, right? So they like the whole inclusion and thing. And Maoist was very big about women being put into the workforce, I believe. Let me make sure that's true. Mao and feminism. Feminism and Chinese communism. It was founded in China. Okay, so my own lore is based on history, Caleb. And also I didn't write it. It was Ben who wrote it initially. He had such a complicated mind that and it's so good though. Okay. So Mao was the Chinese communist movement advocated for equality between men and women. So it was a Marxist-Leninist party theoretically committed to female equality as it vowed to place women's liberation on their agenda. Okay, so that's the, yes, I forget history, I have to study. Yes, manga makes you study. I'm sorry, Caleb. Even worse. He's gonna become a Hitler because he forgot about it. You know, so yeah, communism was very pro-feminism, which me personally, I disagree with a lot of the Marxist ideologies regarding that, but it's been seeped into American politics. So the poster child of the Japan Socialist Party's inclusion initiative Hana is a Japanese policewoman who has been assigned to Vasa's group. I don't know, what's another word for group? Assigned to Vasa's force. Good. Okay. She struggles with her belief that she struggles with the possibility that she may have not have been there due to her own merits. So she has an internal struggle. She has an internal struggle about how she believes. She struggles. She struggles with the thought that she may have been assigned not through her own merit, but instead as a symbol of the regime. Good. All right, so the poster child of Japan's Socialist Party's Inclusion Initiative, I'm going to capitalize that. Inclusion. Initiative. The Inclusion Initiative. Hana is a Japanese policewoman. Policewoman is one word, and I shouldn't capitalize that. Policewoman who has been assigned to Vasa's force. She struggles with the thought that she may have been assigned not through her own merit, but instead as a symbol of the regime. Okay, I think that's a good internal struggle. And it's kind of controversial, because feminism, inclusion, equality, that's a bunch of stuff that people don't touch with a pole unless they're in the corporate world. That's great, fun, good stuff. Okay, so she's one of them. And I don't know the names of any of the other policemen, so those are the main characters right now that I'll be exploring in Chapter 1. So Chapter 1, let's just go ahead and go through the page. Let's see. Okay, I have a lot of page left. Okay, so we got the character. Synopsis. Okay, let's go with the synopsis of Chapter 1. Okay, so the synopsis. We're gonna include Vasa's introduction to Japan. We're gonna include Vasa meeting Hana. We're gonna include Vasa so the main character, of course, is Vasa. Vasa meets Hana and the other police people. I'm gonna say policemen because she'll be the only policewoman. This is the 80s. So meeting Hana and the other policemen. It just jumps into a raid against rebel forces. So there's going to be a raid against rebel forces in a warehouse that turns out to be empty. How do you spell warehouse? Warehouse. That turns out to be empty, with the exception of a single little girl. Lucy. Vasa quickly realizes that he's the only one who can see Lucy. Okay, now, the question is, do I want him to do a flashback to the reason why he's in Japan? Or like before, because I don't really like the whole I don't really like the whole flashback thing that was very much popularized with Lost. I just saw Caleb's messages on my thing. He drew a picture of me talking, and I really love them, Caleb. They look great. I kind of want to share them on stream. Can I do that? Can I do that? I want to share them. If you're okay with that, Caleb, I'll wait for your permission. I'm gonna save that. I love that you're drawing more, Caleb. That's a real fun thing. Download that. Save. Thinking of Rick and Morty. Yeah. You know, people will say, oh, hey, you know, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? But the real question is, how often do you think of Rick and Morty? Yes, I can share them. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna show them real quick. I'm gonna add image. I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna call this one Caleb Drawing 1. Okay. And then browse and then downloads. Whoa, that covered my whole face. Shrink that down a bit. I'm gonna put this up here. Man, you made me all scruffy. Ah. Yeah. That's funny. I like these drawings. I like them a lot. You need to draw more, Caleb. I like them. I'll put that there. And then I'll put this next one. Image. There's me! Here I go. No, I like that. That's cool. Yes. I'll put this guy right here. Alright. Maybe over here. Let's see. Should I crop it? Can I crop it? Let me figure this out. Oh, I can. Push Alt. Yes. Lovely. Very beautiful. 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 Any more fan art, and I'll include it in the stream. Yes. So fun. Alright. Good job, Caleb. I love your drawings, as per usual. Alright. Onwards! Onwards to the story. Okay, so. Yes, please send it. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. So we're back to the story. Should I don't have to show your art, you were mindlessly practicing. Well, I like showing art. I'm an artist myself, so of course I love art. Look at my couch, right? Artistic. Art. No, it's just a little. I want these in claw machines, and I sleep on my couch sometimes whenever I'm too lazy to get out my futon. But yes, I like art stuff, so I'll always be sharing it. So that's the way the cookie crumbles. Make it bigger. Alt. Yeah, see? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anyway, back to the story. This is fun. So Vasa quickly realizes that he's the only one who can see Lucy. So Lucy is she's a really cute little girl. Whenever she is introduced, Vasa is looking around. He's very suspicious, and he has his gun holstered, and he's like walking. And then the little girl just jumps up in front of him and goes bang with her fingers, like bang, like that. And so that's what I want to do. Lucy goes bang, bang, and pretends to shoot him with her fingers. And I want Vasa to quickly put away his gun because he sees it's a little girl. Gun and pretends to be shot. Yeah, so that's what I want. That's what I want to happen. I want that to be a funny moment in the story. Kind of like a fake jump scare. So when you turn the page, she'll just be going bang. And then it'll have like him going ... And then put away his gun. And they go, you got me, you know, because it's a little girl. Also, Vasa's gonna have a very thick Russian accent. Very cool. So, I think I'm gonna get some tea. I'm gonna grab some tea real quick. I need to sharpen my mind. Yes. Today's tea is, kanji. It's black tea. And I shall be putting it in my unaffiliated mug. And I'll be drinking with just my left hand, because if I show this mug, people will know what things I watch. And that's controversial. Yay, politics! Okay, anyway. Let's continue. Yeah, so. Oh, that's the good stuff. Yeah. Move this. So. Yes, so throughout this, during this experience, Vasa quickly realizes that he's the only one who can see Lucy. And Lucy shows him. Lucy shows. Let me do this. Lucy shows him her imagination and creativity, and conjures up many different. And this is where I see like a spread, right? Where Lucy is doing all these really cute and things, and Vasa is just amazed about what's going on, you know? Conjures up many different creative things to show her powers to Vasa. Vasa doesn't know if Lucy is a figment of his imagination, if he's being followed by a ghost, or if Lucy is some sort of deity, some sort of spirit. I don't want to include the whole sacrilegious aspect of things, but so Vasa doesn't know if Lucy is is his own mind coping with a previous trauma, or a ghost of a girl that's following. Maybe I can introduce the reason why he's in Japan here, like during this moment. Yeah. But anyway, that's something that happens. Yep. Lucy shows him her creativity, and he becomes amazed. You know. So she's kind of a monolith, kind of this thing that exists in this world. And Caleb sent me a photo. That's nice. That looks really nice. Hold on. Oh, he has the drawing of it too. Well, I mean, like he has a time lapse of the drawing of it. That's cool. I like this. Hold on, I'm gonna save this. Save. I am going to include this in the stream. I'm gonna put it below the chat. Oh, too low. Oh, I gotta loop it. Loop. Go. And then you don't have to share it. Yes, I do. Shut up. I'll put it behind the chat so it's not too distracting. And I'll include the finished image as well. All done during the stream. Whoa, so big. So high quality. So cool. Thank you, Caleb. Behind! There we go. Very cool. Very bro moment. Would do again. 10 out of 10. Very good. Hello! Oh, maybe have him ask it. Very good. You guys are smart. Hello, Imagine Rejector. Imagine Rejector. Who's Imagine Rejector, I wonder? Do I know you? Are you new to the channel? Hello, welcome. Yes. Okay, so. Okay, let's read exactly what Imagine Rejector says. He says, the fake out jump scare with Lucy sounds like a cutesy plot twist, and stuff with Lucy's powers is so cool. You're considering whether to do a flashback. It could save on awkward exposition. Yes, it could. Caleb says you don't have to share it. I did anyway. Haha. But if you don't want to, perhaps have them. Are you this person? Are you the girl who was killed in my mission? You know, something like that. Okay. Lucy can ask who he's talking about. And while they may be hesitant to talk at first, maybe he feels comfortable with her and opens up. That's a good idea. That's a very good idea. So I'm gonna put those possible scenarios. Yeah. So either through exposition or through flashback. Vasa's origins to Japan are explained. I personally, typically... Oh, you did watch the... Wow, man. That's crazy. The Nisekoi fandom. Man, I'm telling you. Okay, so this entire stream, I don't know if you've been here for a while and been lurking, or if you're just seeing this now, but the reason this entire thing is going to be copyleft, which means you're going to be allowed to freely distribute it. You're allowed to copy it. You're allowed to make your own derivatives and make money off of it if you want to. Yeah. So right now I'm making, this is the manga that I'm making, and so awesome. Welcome to the stream. Let me go into it again because this is fun. I like re-explaining everything. Where are ya? Website. I'll quickly go over what I was talking about before. Okay, so the Nisekoi fandom was a real one. It was, but unfortunately, due to copyright issues, and I'm surprised I still have people who are subscribed from that. Man, that's crazy. Man, this is great. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. That's insane. I'm so surprised. I'm genuinely surprised about that. That's awesome. Thank you. That makes me feel awesome. But yeah, I'm making a manga. So let me switch real quick to the where am I? I am here, Chrome. Here we are. Let me switch to my website that I'm making for this manga. So, just to explain to you, right here. Okay, so Viable. That's the name of the manga that I'm making. And the manga is going to be copyleft. So copyleft means that it's a free work that you can copy, distribute, and modify under the free art license. And this license here is basically saying that, yeah, this is the legal terminology and everything. It's actually a French license, but it can be applied to to American law as well. And it's FAQ in English and all this other stuff, yeah? Man, that's crazy! You never unsubbed, and YouTube gave you a notification. That's wild, man. I didn't expect to see other people here from that era. Crazy. Well, on the top right of the stream, that's Caleb's fan art that he made for me during the stream. He was just literally drawing me, and he told me not to. He told me that I'm allowed to post it, but I don't have to post it. So I did it anyway. So there it is. If you make art or anything, you can send it, and I'll put it on top just like that. But yeah. Anyway, so this is copyleft, and copyleft is basically the idea. I have the information in this website here. This website is basically gonna be my website for Viable, but as of right now, whenever you type in the incognito tab, if you type it in into your browser, I don't know why I did that. It'll be www.viablemanga.com. Thank you, man. You're making me feel all like nostalgic and stuff. But yeah, right now you have to log in as me in order to access the website, because the website is meant to be released whenever it is on. Whenever it is chapter 2 is finished, right? So copyleft, in case you didn't know, basically you're allowed to make, let me go over it really quickly, is a licensing agreement with freedom in mind. It allows for copying, distribution, and modification of a work for profit or for non-profit. You can do whatever. Basically, it allows people who are fans of my work to make yeah. So that's when I joined the fan art, but I was nervous to talk since you'd actually see it. And I do draw characters, but haven't in a while. Man, that's great. I'm excited. Yeah, this is fun. That's crazy. I was also a kid, and you were a kid, and I made something when I was a kid that you remember and saw and subscribed to me for. And then here you are. And I'm living in Japan now, by the way. I don't live in America anymore. I'm in Japan. Which is just fun, right? This is great. Yeah. So I'm an English teacher in Japan now, and this is a lot of fun. And I decided to, on my day off, to make a manga that I've been thinking about for years, since like 2020, late 2021, early 2022. I still need to edit some of these things to be 2023 now, and then I'll need to edit it again to be 2024 whenever the new year happens. Man, this is crazy. Anyway, so copyleft is basically the idea that you have full permission to copy, distribute it, and modify Viable, which is the name of my manga, for commercial and non-commercial purposes. So you can make money off of it or not if you want, as long as you credit me, and that's it. That's the legal requirement. If you don't credit me, it's copyright infringement. If you do credit me, you're good. GG's. That's it. So easy, yeah. And so the main thing there is, can you make money off of fan art? Yeah, you can make money off of any copy or derivative of fan art. Or I'm sorry, you can make money off of any copy or derivative of Viable, which includes fan art, right? And so you can just put it there. It's great, fun time, yeah. So awesome, cool, very fun. But how can you make money if anyone can copy my work? So that's another thing. If you are making a fan art or something, that fan art itself also needs to be, if you're making a derivative, I don't like saying fan art so much. If you make a derivative of Viable, the derivative also needs to be copyleft. So that's the rules. It also needs to be copyleft, and you have to credit me. That's the main rules. But otherwise, you can make money off of it. You can do anything. And so a question is, how can I make money with copyleft if anyone can copy my work? You can use the same model that I'm using, which is crowdfunding. So you can do crowdfunding, and it's also important to note that you will be credited whenever people use your copyright. Whenever people, like, for example, if you make a fan art of Viable and then they post it on a t-shirt and they sell it, they have to credit you, or else it is copyright infringement. They have to credit both of us. So that's the idea. It's very similar to what the internet already does, but it basically forces them to give you credit. And the credit can include a website. So for me, my credit includes a website, so viablemanga.com. And so whenever that's made, whenever you make your copyleft information available, you can include a website, so then people can go to you can make that website your Patreon, you can make it anything, your Twitter, and it's basically free advertising for whenever people buy your version of the product. You could also just sell the product yourself. You don't need to wait on some Chinese manufacturer to do it, but they can do it yourself. So copyleft is really fun, because you don't have to worry about me suing you unless you don't credit me. And you can make money off of it, and you can share it to a ridiculously high degree. But yes, it is a lot of fun. And you can make fan translations or fan dubs, or you can just rewrite the whole thing if you want, redraw the whole thing. You can make basically anything that's legal, and I don't like pornography, so please don't make pornography, but I can't stop you. So there you go. That's the rules, very cool, very fun. And so, yeah, my idea basically, also you can't make anything illegal like graffiti or like child porn or anything. But yeah, I don't know if I should say that on YouTube, those words, but I did. So anyway, chapter 2. This website will be released once chapter 1 is released. I will include chapter 1 in 2 formats, flipping and scrolling. Scrolling is more like the webtoons, so you can scroll down and down. As you can see, I did not finish chapter 1 at all. And then there's the flipping version, where if you try to go right, it'll say you're going the wrong way, and then you flip right to left, so you read it right to left. And this is going to be available on your phone, and also you just go to the website, so via Chrome or something. But yeah, that's the idea. I'm going to be uploading it onto here. I'm going to be uploading it onto manga websites, which like Scanlation websites and different stuff. And it'll basically be advertising for the second chapter, which whenever you go there, whenever I'm finished with the first chapter. Chapter 2 is going to have a fundraiser right here. And the fundraiser is not launched yet because I haven't finished chapter 1, but whenever I'm finished with it, chapter 1 is going to be 75 pages because it's the longest chapter. Chapter 2 is going to be 25 pages. And so whenever people invest, they're investing in not only for the chapter to be released, but for any derivatives of that chapter to be able to be monetized. So you can make a comic and you can just sell it at conventions. You can basically do anything with my chapter. You can just re-upload it on Facebook if you want. That's the cool thing about it. And it's because I mention here, and this is why I went into this spiel. I mentioned here that I tried to make, what is it? As an artist and a fan of anime and manga, I had no idea I was committing copyright infringement when I was a kid. All I wanted to do was make fan-based works without having giant corporations breathing down my neck. Unfortunately, I had many DMCA takedown notices as a result of my enthusiasm for fan-based works. So that is talking about Nisekoi. And so, yeah. It's a fan dub. Many would argue that it's based on fair use. I argued that at the time. And, it's kind of a difficult gray area that I don't like gray areas in law. And so I'm making it black and white. I'm making it to where credit me, you're good. Credit me, make yours copyleft too, you're good. And that's, you can do whatever you want. You can make a fan dub. You can make money off of that fan dub. You can, just as long as you allow other people to do the same, that's fine. So, yeah. And you credit me. And they have to credit you or else it's copyright infringement. So, yeah. Fun stuff. Anyway, how about we get back to writing, huh? So, boobadoo-bop-bop-a-doobity-doo. Sorry to go over that spiel. It was kind of long and talkative, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the idea, at least. I'm not a lawyer, but I saw the copyleft thing was made specifically for software because my dad's a software engineer, and so I looked into doing that as a job growing up, and it wasn't my thing. But it introduced me to some legal concepts like copyleft, and I found out there was an art version of it, and so yeah, that's what I wanted to do. So anyway, let's go to Viable Chapter 1 now. Here we go. All right, so we're writing the chapter for the first thing. So we got Vasa, USSR detective. We got Lucy, 6-year-old, who only Vasa can see. We have Hana, the poster child of the Japan Socialist Party. Very fun stuff, very cool. Vasa's origins are explained. Okay, so the reason why I'm not really sure about what to do about the flashback or exposition is because in regards to that, Lost, the TV series, really popularized the flashback. And I hated it. Because it got everywhere after Lost, and including movies. The only movie I liked that did flashback well was a Looper, I think. About the guy with amnesia. And that was a very interesting concept. So I don't know if I like flashbacks all that much. An exposition, generally it's okay if done well and if done in the story. I'm just afraid that I'm not a writer, right? I mean, I'm writing, but like I don't have formal training in writing, so I don't know if exposition can be. Like, when I think of exposition, I think of Star Wars, like the crawl, right? Which is fine. It's iconic, but a lot of the director of the second movie didn't like the crawl, right? A lot of people don't know this, but George Lucas didn't direct the first two movies. He was the creator of them. He invested in them, but the directors were different. But he insisted that they included the girl. For me personally, exposition is like, okay, this is a thing. Does it fit naturally into the world? Would Vasa himself be talking to a 6-year-old about it? Yeah. I personally like the flashback because I don't like when characters in movies will talk about their past awkwardly. But it can be done well. Yes, I agree with that. So it's like, okay, how do I do that? You know? I watch a lot of movies. I like movies. And I like manga. Obviously, I read it a lot. Lately, I've been reading more webtoons than manga. But even still, I live in Japan, and I really like them. So, you know. Caleb, I think, had to leave or hop off. Yeah. So, thank you, Caleb, for hopping in and saying hi. So I'll go ahead and message him real quick. Thanks for stopping by. Smiley face. Okay. So, but yeah. What am I thinking? Exposition, yeah. So how do we do it in a natural way? And another thing, you know, there's a lot of critiques nowadays about, you know, Mary Sue's or Gary Stu's and these like preferred sort of like other things, and that kind of me is kind of frustrating. I've been watching a lot of Literature Devil, trying to like prep for this, trying to get into the more like hero's journey sort of thing. And I like the idea of characters changing over time, but I also like the idea of static characters like Superman, and I think Lucy would be more of a static character. She's 6, so she wouldn't really understand, and I work with 6-year-olds, so I don't think she would really understand a lot of what's going on around her, and she would just do her best to have fun, and she might be a little scared of a lot of the scary events that are happening, and she might cry. But, you know, 6-year-olds are interesting in how they interact with the world. And I think another flaw with a lot of story writing is that they tend to write young children as older than they are. And that's why, you know, I love kids and I work with kids. And so I think it's good that I work with kids while writing this, because it can give me an insight on how Lucy would interact with Vasa. So that's kind of my thought process. I don't know if an adult would go out of their way to trauma dump what happened to them to a 6-year-old child, unless there's something like mentally there, because he just met her too. So, but I do think that he'll love Lucy over time, and Lucy will see Vasa as more of a father figure. Yeah, maybe. That's a good idea. It's like, why do you have a gun? Because I'm a cop. You know, like, yeah, that's true. That's true. She is a kid. Is that a gun? It's like, no, it's a. That's true. And kids do ask a lot of questions, 6-year-olds especially. Though their language skills are not the best. Though I work with Japanese kids, so let me think. My niece is 3. My sister's daughter. She's 3. No, she's 3. She turned 3 in June. And she asks a lot of questions, yeah? And so, with a 6-year-old, I remember being 6 and I just kind of went with the flow. I guess it depends on the personality of the child. I was more of a kid who was just like, I want to do this, and my sister and brother would be like, okay, let's do this, and we would swing, or we would play with Legos or something. I would cry whenever I was alone because I didn't like being alone. Nowadays it's kind of the opposite. I prefer to be alone sometimes, and other times though I like hanging out with friends and stuff. But yeah, anyway. Oh, I have a delivery. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Okay. stop. Don't want to dox myself. Okay. But anyway, I got my koseki, my grandmother's koseki, which is, I hope it's there, but not empty. I believe this is it. Which I need for my... Yep, this is it. Perfect. And they gave me back money for other things because they didn't know what to do with that. Cool. Cool. So I got my grandmother koseki, which proves that I am of Japanese heritage, and I can renew my visa. Yay! Okay. Perhaps he doesn't trauma dump. Maybe he explains his past in a metaphorical way. Yeah, that can make it... I don't know if you can hear me, sorry. Putting back on my microphone. Yeah. Perhaps he doesn't trauma dump. Maybe he explains his past in a metaphorical way. Like he explains it, but in a fictionalized way. Maybe he makes it seem like a story that inspired him and not his past. But as the story goes on, we learn the actual truth. That's a good idea. Yeah, like he tries to explain it, like, to a child, because she is one. That's a good idea. Yeah, we can do that. I like that idea, because I don't like flashbacks. I'm okay with them, but like, you know, in a lot of shonen manga, I've noticed this with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Not JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Araki Hirohiko, he wrote about this in his manga writing book. He's the author of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He wrote about how at the end of a story, in order to make the villain seem more sympathetic, they would add a flashback. You know? Yes. Okay, that... Yay. Yeah, I'm excited. So yeah. I'll probably be on here for maybe another hour, maybe 30 minutes or so, because I gotta go to the convenience store, print out some official documents, and get my visa renewed. So exciting, so exciting. Yes. In Japan. Anyway, what were we talking about? Yes. Good idea. Very good. I gotta write that down. Vasa. Yes, he doesn't know. So let's have her... Not Vasa. Lucy asks Vasa a lot of questions. She's kind of spunky, you know? She's kind of like if you look at a picture of her, I don't know if I have a drawing of her. I'm gonna put her on the screen. I do have a drawing of her. So... Image, Lucy, okay, browse, desktop, manga, concept art, Lucy, so cute, I love Lucy, she's a cutie patootie, look at this girl, so cute. She asks him a lot of questions, during their first meeting. Yes. So she asks them a lot of questions during her first meeting, and in answering them in a story-like metaphorical way, he reveals bits and pieces of his past. And Vasa so Vasa sees Lucy. He doesn't know. So Vasa, if someone is in your head, right? If you have like a child that is, I know, she's so cute. I love her. So cute. I drew her a long time ago. Vasa's design, I need to fix. He doesn't look that hot right now. It's on my website. I can actually show you. Actually, it's right here. Yeah, I don't really like Vasa's design. His body proportions are really bad. Like, why is his pants so low? You know, it's okay. It's not great. I like the concept art of him better. I have a better concept art of him. Not the best drawing of him though. But anyway, yeah, I drew this like 2 years ago, and I've always really loved the design of Lucy. I think I made her look really good. But Vasa, not so much. I didn't really. I need to redesign the cover. Also, originally, my friend Ben was supposed to write the story instead of me, and so I came up with the concept. He came up with the world. So the Japan, the communist, the socialist Japan. He came up with that world, which is insane because he used an actual historic event, the assassination of Asanuma Inejiro, to explain how Japan became much more. So that actually happened in real life. So Asanuma Inejiro got killed by a 17-year-old right-wing national, and Asanuma Inejiro was a political leader for the Japanese Socialist Party, and when he died, the entire party basically fell apart, right? And so in this world, that doesn't happen. He lives, the Socialist Party rises in power, and Japan becomes more socialist rather than its current party, which is the LBP, the Liberal Democratic Party, which is more conservative. And people would say that it's nationalist too. So Wikipedia calls it a nationalist party, but it's conservative. And so, all that being said, in this world, that doesn't happen, which is why the USSR is allied with Japan, and they're in a power struggle between the USSR and China, and America is trying to do a coup sort of thing. They're trying to influence. Yeah, I really want to fix it, though. I do like the James Bond sort of feel. Whenever I first wrote him, I thought he looked too much like what's his name? Lloyd from Spy Family, because I was reading Spy Family at the time, whenever I first came up with this idea. And so I think that this looks too much like him. Lloyd is obviously not a Russian, but he has his own world and things. But this concept of the world was written by my friend Ben. And unfortunately, he's not really involved with the project anymore. He lives in Japan too, but he got really busy with his own things. He also works with me at the same company that does the. I'm currently writing a story that has historical fiction aspects. You love historical. Awesome, me too. I'm not a history major, but Ben, he was a history major, or is a history major. He graduated, so he's going into law school actually next year, I think. And so he lives in Japan, and he wants to be doing like visa stuff for Japanese to live in America, and so he'll have a higher paying job in Japan to America. Anyway, so Ben was originally, he told me that he would write the story for this, but eventually he became too busy and fell off. So now I gotta write most of it myself based on what he had told me in the past. So the world is, he basically wrote that. He's the one who came up with the history of Inejiro Asanuma getting assassinated. He took that actual historical event and he made it to where that never happened. And actually, there's a very famous photo of the assassination of Inejiro Asanuma. Let me see if I can find it. Alrighty. Let me There we go. Alright, so this guy, actual historical figure, this is a famous photo of him getting assassinated by a kid, 17-year-old, named I forgot his name, but anyway, yeah, he got assassinated. And this photo, it won the Pulitzer Prize for photography, and it was a shot taken by a journalist. And yeah, so this was Inejiro Asanuma being stabbed on stage during a televised event. Like you can find this actual assassination on YouTube. It's not very bloody. It's just a guy. He's standing on the stage in front of a podium, and then you see the kid just running up on stage and just basically, it looks like he's tackling him, but while he's tackling him, he's inserting a sword into his stomach. It's insane. That actually happened, right? Ben took this, and I'm actually gonna be, I want to draw this as, so you know how in, sorry, I'm getting tea. You know how, this is getting spicy. You know how in manga, there's always like an introduction to the story? I kind of want to include that in my introduction of Viable, like this picture. I want to draw a version of this picture in my introduction to Viable, and include like some thoughts of, you know, how life, how the ending or survival of one life can change history in incredible ways, right? Let me see if Slam Dunk. So I have Slam Dunk right here, in Japanese. And yeah. So this is a spread, right? And before that, it just basically has a girl saying that she doesn't like this guy and he's crying, and they're just going, oh. So back in the old days, I guess Slam Dunk doesn't include it, but let me see if I can find Prince Tennis. They include it. I know Spy Family has a spread page that, no, Nisekoi. Nisekoi absolutely does have a spread page. Yeah, this one does. Okay. So it has people, here it has people talking about this new kid around the block and the tennis thing. And then it has a spread page, right? And so what I want to do for Viable is on the first page, I want to include a drawing rendering of this photo, and then mention about, so in Nisekoi, it's like father, no, not father, his father. I'm thinking of We Never Learn. In Nisekoi, it starts off by saying, I don't have my Nisekoi volume here. I have it in America. But it starts off by saying, it gives like some sort of like a speech in a way that says, no, it shows whenever Raku and, it was Kirisaka, spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't finished Nisekoi. But the little girl at the beginning, the little girl at the beginning, are promising each other, and then it's a spread, and then it starts the first chapter, basically, right? That's kind of what I want to do, but I want to include this image in it, and I want to include a commentary on how a single life can affect the course of history, right? Which kind of goes with the concept, which is why the story is going to be called Viable, right? Because is every life viable, right? So, yeah, exactly. So the fairy tale and the sequel series does a similar introduction. Yeah. So that's kind of, I want to introduce them to the ideas and themes of the story, and that's going to be a big one. Because Lucy is technically, you know, it depends on, like, I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but Lucy in the story, and it's kind of funny how on the stream Lucy's just staring at this assassination. So I'm gonna I'm gonna close that. What was I saying? Yeah, Lucy is a character in the mind of Vasa, right? And so is she an actual person? That's a big question that lingers in the audience's mind while I'm writing it. And it's gonna be pretty, it's gonna be a pretty dark series that has very light moments given by Lucy, I think. There's gonna be plots of rebels, of like American sympathizers, and all these other things. And this is during the 80s too. So in Japan, the 80s, in our timeline, it's weird to say that, but in real life, the 80s was a very prosperous time for Japan, and I would expect the same Yes, he does. Yeah, so Vasa is very, he has a, so the story of Vasa is that in Russia, when he was assigned in the USSR, there was a tragedy that happened that ended in the result of a 6-year-old girl dying, and that made him very upset, and it basically publicly shamed him as well. And so a majority of the USSR civilians found the death of the child to be an egregious misstep by the detective. And so he wanted to quit originally, but his superior, and that's another character that I'm not going to introduce until chapter 2, his superior told him, look man, we're going to wait for this to all blow over. I'm going to assign you to Japan, right? So because there's talks of coups and rebellion going on in Japan, especially since America originally occupied Japan. I don't know if America would still occupy Japan at this moment. So there's a lot of questions and different things going on about the history of what would happen if Inejiro Asanuma never died. And these are all hypotheticals that I don't really have the history knowledge to come up with, right? So it's like a thing that I still want to use because I love it. And he just kind of drops it on me, and I was like, okay, good luck. I'm like, oh no, what do I do? So would America still be occupying Japan during this time, and would they be influencing Japanese politics to try to, and also would Japan still be prosperous? I don't think it would be nearly as prosperous, but I still think it would still have some prosperity in the 80s. If it was a socialist place, like if Inejiro Asanuma didn't die. So if the main diet of Japan was mostly socialist instead of the Liberal Democratic Party, which is conservative. And that's confusing because in America, we call liberals left-leaning and we call Republicans right-leaning. But in Japan, liberal Democrats are right-leaning and socialists are left-leaning. So there's a lot of, anyway. All that being said, there's a lot of things I got to think about regarding the history, and I basically wanted to lead up to there being coups that Vasa has to investigate, and I want there to be a lot of tension in the domestic side of Japan during the 1980s of this world. So that is the plan. Anyway, let's go back to the writing. Yes. So given current world events, I probably wouldn't end up watching it, but that's crazy. And yeah, I think it makes sense. Oh yeah, that's true. Shinzo Abe was assassinated last year, so that was pretty crazy too. That was actually the second assassination of a political figure since World War II, so after World War II. The first one being Inejiro Asanuma, I think. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Let's see. There may have been more that I just don't know, but those are the two that I know about, at least. Okay, so occupation ended in 1952, and yeah, Inejiro Asanuma was assassinated in the 60s, so good, cool. All right, so would America still have their military bases here, though? That's another question. So the occupation ended, but there's still an American influence over Japanese society. I think they would have taken a more hands-off approach and let Japanese society do their own thing. But during the Cold War, that might have been very difficult. And so they would try to instill coups and rebellion during this time in history, right? So there's a lot of interesting things going on here. Different potential aspects that could be included in the manga. Very fun, very interesting, lots to think about. It's a big thinker manga. Thank you, Ben, for making me have to think about these things. But okay, cool. So we got that. Let's talk about the first chapter. So Vasa is introduced to Japan. So we see him on an airplane, making it to Japan, meeting Hana, who is a poster child for the Japanese Socialist Party's inclusion initiative, who struggles with the thought that she may be assigned not by her own merit, but as a symbol of the regime. That's true. I think so too. I think America would no longer be close allies with Japan, and that China and Russia would fight, kind of like, not like fight, but they would have kind of their own Cold War going on, trying to, like, they would be allied against America, but they want control over Japan, right? So the USSR and China would want to do that. And so Hana is the poster child of the JSP's inclusion initiative, so she struggles with the thought that she may be assigned not through her own merit, but as a symbol of the regime. Feminism and equality is very important aspects of Maoist China's Communist Party, and also of the USSR. Though, if we're being completely honest, it's not the same sort of feminism as we have in modern day, which itself is its own can of worms that I'm not going to touch because of the political climate. But they would have put women in positions of power in order to, maybe not positions of power, but like different roles that they would not normally be included in, which in this case would be the police force. So Vasa meets Hana and the other policeman, and then they have a raid into rebel forces that was abandoned, with the exception of meeting Lucy. Lucy plays with Vasa for a bit. The question though is, like, where did the policeman go during this interaction with Lucy? Does Vasa just open a door to an empty place in the warehouse? So maybe there's multiple. Maybe it's not a warehouse. Maybe it's a home of someone, right? So like an abandoned place, he opens a door where he normally would just say clear, and so he says clear, and then everyone else keeps searching, and then he has this little interaction with Lucy, and then but why would he say clear if he sees Lucy, right? It's like, okay, maybe they ask him, look, is it clear? And he's like, and then they kind of shove him out of the way and say, yeah, it's clear. It's like, you need to learn more Japanese, man. Like, this is kind of a difficult thing. So maybe that's what they're trying to tell him. Maybe it's a communication error. And then he realizes that they don't see Lucy, which would make sense because he just arrived in Japan. He wouldn't know much Japanese. He doesn't know. He knows he would know the protocols of the Russian detective stuff, but he wouldn't know necessarily the Japanese. And I don't know that either. I guess I could make it up. But I don't know. How does Vasa have this interaction? That's a good question. So we want him to have this interaction with Lucy. Maybe it's not in a warehouse. Maybe it's in a place. So I'll just put place, because we don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Vasa doesn't know if Lucy is his own mind. Okay, so he interacts with Lucy, has that very sweet interaction. So that's gonna make up the first, maybe the first 25-ish pages. His introduction to Japan, him meeting Lucy, her showing him her powers, which is basically her just manipulating his mind to see these things. It helps him with solving the case, right? So, yeah, so that's an option. I'm gonna be right back though, because I need to use the restroom real quick. So I drank too much tea. I gotta pee. So it'll only be a second. And I am back. Yes, more suggestions. Yes, very much. Thank you, Imagine Reactor, for helping me with this. I appreciate you so much. All right. They could enter a home that's being used as a storage place. The others could be occupied with searching other rooms, and yeah, maybe it's a communication error, but maybe they came back to check on him. They find him lingering, and he says something like, I had to double check, thought I saw something. That's good. Very good. I also want him to have a very strong Russian accent. I don't know if that's racist, or I don't know if that, he's white, he's Russian. I don't know. I don't know if that's prejudice. Is that a word? I don't know. I don't know if that's a sensitive thing to do, to give someone a strong Russian accent, but I think it's just really cool. So I'm gonna include that. He's gonna be, I had to double check. I don't know how to do a Russian accent. Stravovsky, blah blah blah. Yeah, anyway. Yes, and actually, so now the investigators might go in pairs to be safe to solve this problem, have the case be very urgent and high profile, and give the home enough rooms where they have to check each individually. Yes, and what I want to do, I forgot to mention this, the case is going to be about a kidnapping of a politician's son who has a degenerative disease that that he needs medication for, so it's very urgent, right? Now I need to look up some diseases because I don't know what disease he'll have in the 80s of socialist Japan, what medication. Yeah, it'll hopefully be fine. But yeah, so I don't know. And also, how do you do a Russian accent in Japanese? That's another thing. Anyway, so Vasa is meeting Hana and the other policeman. The reason it jumps into a raid, it's about forgot the name of the party. NST, Japan Socialist Party. A Japan Socialist Party politician's son is kidnapped by rebel forces. And Hana yes, they're all in a rush. That's a very good idea. A Japan Socialist Party politician's son is kidnapped by rebel forces. He doesn't have much time, and I want this kid to actually die. Things taken out of context. Yeah, I want this character child to actually die, and I want Vasa at the end of the chapter to be so mad about this that he brutally, legally executes every single rebel force that he sees. And that kind of shocks Hana and the policeman, and that brings into the question of just because it's legal, is it right? You know, so there's a lot of different themes that can pop up there. It creates conflict within the story. So, I want the first chapter to end with him killing people. Yay. He doesn't have much time, as the child has a degenerative disease and needs medication before he and maybe like, because like certain things like diabetes, if you don't have your insulin in time, you can go into a diabetic coma, which was what happened to Caleb's best friend, and he talks about that whenever he does JDRF streams, the Junior Diabetes Research Foundation, and Caleb is a streamer too, so he does streams of that, and he's actually been doing it this week too. He's been playing Mario Wonder for that, and so there are some diseases out there that require constant medical attention, and I was trying to figure out what disease to use, because I think diabetes would be distasteful just because Caleb's best friend passed away from diabetes, and I'm very close friends to Caleb. And also it's not as urgent, I would say. So I'm gonna Google something. actually, I used ChatGPT before to figure out like what kind of diseases exist. But I'm not entirely sure. Degenerative. There was diseases that require constant medication. Okay. So diabetes. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Is that the one where your kidneys? No, it's respiratory. And so they Friedrich's ataxia. Friedrich's. Inherited disorder, that's good. That affects some of the body's nerves. It's caused by a gene defect and slowed speech. Oh my gosh. Is it a quick death? Like if they don't have their medication in like 48 hours or so, then they could die? Or within a week, maybe? Probably. It's very rare, but it is a common one. And it starts between 5 and 15. Man, that's an awful way to go. Yeah. If we can find a way to where the treatment of these diseases are necessary for his life, then that could be, yeah. And he would be easy to kidnap too, because he's in a wheelchair and he couldn't protect himself. I mean, obviously, like if he's a politician's son, he may, saying something is easy to kidnap is not PC, but that could be it. And it could also make Vasa remember his trauma because of the case that killed another kid. And so that would also traumatize him. He'd be, I failed my mission, my first mission in Japan, I failed, right? Because he didn't make it in time. Even with Lucy's help. It's pretty tragic, man. This is gonna be pretty tragic, I think. That's a good idea though. And so the politician is very emotional about it. The police force is very adamant that they find this child. And yeah, they kidnap him for the purpose of, so we need a reason as to why the kidnappers kidnap him. It may be ends defined, they may not have known that he had the degenerative disease, or they might have just not cared. They thought he was just in a wheelchair, but he didn't need constant medical attention. Many different possibilities. And needs constant to survive. So in a, let's say in a house used for storage, so that's their lead. How did they find the lead for that though? That's another question. And so I kind of have to think, because I like it when stories are logically consistent. Yeah. Or maybe he bonds with her more because he thinks she's already dead, or that she's just the manifestation of his trauma and that he can't kill her because he can't even touch her, right? So, yeah, he failed 2 kids. There's gonna be a lot of children death in this story. That's sad. Man, it's almost as if it's symbolizing something. Anyway. That's true. Maybe they wasted to give his father an ultimatum. That either he resigns or resigns from the party, you think? Like a resignation? I think that's an idea. So they want him to resign, or they want him, maybe he's in charge of something. Yeah. Very good. Okay, so honestly, this is a copyleft manga, as I said. So any sort of writing that we do here, you can use in your own. If you want to publish this yourself, you can. So and you can make money off it too. So that's kind of the idea. So you can give as many ideas as you want. I'm going to be basing it off of both the chat and my own ideas and my own thoughts, and my own beliefs. And so there's probably going to be some like symbolism in there for political beliefs and for religious beliefs that, you know, not everybody is going to agree to, but it's going to be like under everything. It's going to have like it's not going to be explicit whenever I write it. But if you want to make your own without any of that, you can. If you want to just write a story about it, you can. And I'd even include it in my website if you wanted to do that. So that's the fun thing about this, is that it's copyleft. So that's why I'm open to hearing ideas and kind of like doing this writing process with everybody. It's a fun sort of community-driven story, and I'm gonna still be including my main point ideas, you know, but and I can just reject something if I don't want that to be included as well. So, and then you can add it to your own story, other different things. For example, I like Full Metal Alchemist, you know, and Brotherhood is a lot different from the original ending, right? I like the fact that the original ending exists though, so that's my personal thing. One of the kidnappers was the brother of a doctor. He saw the patient die while visiting his brother, so he's secretly leaking info to Vasa's group, but after Vasa's rampage, he's afraid to show himself. He doesn't want the boy to die. That's interesting. He's too deep. Yeah. He is very deep. So what does he do? Very good question. That's a new character. I like this. Okay, so ooh-wee. Okay, so the politician's brother. One of the kidnappers was the brother of a doctor. Yeah, he can't reveal himself. That's interesting. So he leaked it. And so this is more of a secret character. And he did it because he believed it to be right. And then how does he's just in too deep, yeah? And so after Vasa kills all of the rebels after seeing the death of the kid, and he's gonna be cold about it too. They're gonna be like lined up against the wall with their hands behind their back. The policemen and Hannah are gonna be very proud that they were able to capture all the the kidnappers. And then Vasa is gonna be like, "Thank you, good work, everybody. First of all, all of these guys are rebels, yeah? They were involved with the kidnapping, and she's like, yep. He's like, all right. He takes out his gun. Pop, 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 pop. And that's the end of the chapter, and you don't actually see him shooting him. You see Hannah's face go from pride to horror as the lighting changes. So you see like bright, dark, bright, dark, bright, dark, and she's just, her face slowly gets more and more like, oh, right? And that's the end of the chapter. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I like ending chapters on a climax. So, that being said, let's figure it out. So, how does he escape Vasa's rampage? How does the Doctor escape Vasa's rampage? So, that's an idea. So, Hana briefs Vasa on the situation. A Japanese Socialist Party politician's son was kidnapped by rebel forces. He doesn't have much time, as the child has a degenerative disease and needs constant medication to survive. One of the rebels is a doctor, and seeing this child slowly die, decided to leak the information to the police. And he can show up later in another chapter. And decided to leak information about where they're storing him to the police. Vasa. So they go on a raid against the rebel forces. That's such a good idea, man. Against rebel forces in a house used for storage that turns out to be empty, with the exception of a single little girl, Lucy. So they had already cleared out because they had found out there was a leak. And Hana. So because they are quickly, we gotta include that. So we gotta include a house used for storage that turns out to be empty. So, however, due to the urgency of the situation, the policemen split up to different rooms to try to find the boy. Test, test, test. Okay. It's working now. Was I muted this entire time? Microphone. Okay, that's what's going on. I need to unplug that. Plug it back in. Okay, so I'm using the camera's microphone right now. I need to change that to... my lapel microphone. Test, 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 test. Man. Okay, hold on. Do. There we go. Okay, it should be the right thing now. Okay, so test, 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 test. Okay, yeah, it still works. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. Was I muted this entire time? I hope not. Hopefully it was just whenever I went to pee. Okay, anyway. We need music. Where did my music go? Oh, it ended. Okay, I'm gonna replay it. Okay. Turn the volume up. There we go. Alright, cool. We good? We good? Everything good? Yeah, maybe? Perhaps? Perchance? Okay. Anyway. Where were we? Okay. Yes. All right. So, what happens next? How do they go from? How do they go from Vasa, the interaction with Lucy and Vasa to the next step, right? So how do they find the rebels? They find a clue, perhaps? Or maybe the doctor had left just something obvious. I want to use Lucy's powers in some way, though. You know, I'm out of tea. So sad. Yes, very good question. Okay, so I haven't really eaten anything yet, but I might go soon. Yeah, I'll go in 15 minutes. Like I missed it 15 minutes. Alright, so Vasa and Lucy have this interaction, and then they do something. So we got to the place, it's empty. Let's figure out how they go to the next step. What's the next step here? They find a clue about who owns it. I don't know. So they somehow find a clue. About the whereabouts of the boy, yeah? They find a clue about the whereabouts of the boy. And awesome, cool. So they find about the whereabouts of the boy, and they Perhaps it's a clue about a location. But what would that clue be, and how can they find the whereabouts of the boy? I want them to go back to the politician. So they go back to the politician. Yes. I think you might be pretty far behind with the... I think there might be a big delay right now, so it might be a good idea to reload your browser. Yeah, cool. So they find a clue about the whereabouts of the boy, and they go back to the politician. The politician to report. The politician is desperate, not wanting to lose his son after losing his wife to the same disease. Okay. And let's figure this out. Let's see. No, there's no reason for him to go back. Because they already know that, yeah? Unless it's like the clue is related to the politician. So maybe they find a receipt to go somewhere. I don't know. They find a receipt to go to a bar, and then the bartender tells them that's this person, and actually he's right over there, and catches them. And yeah. So maybe Lucy gives Vasa a suggestion about something he saw in the room with her. So Vasa discovers a clue. So maybe he doesn't say he was wrong. Vasa picks up a clue. Don't know what that clue is. And Lucy suggests something about the whereabouts of the people. Because I also want to give Lucy like telepathic powers, and so, but that shouldn't really. I don't know if it'll be revealed then or not. Like, besides being a creative outlet for Vasa, like being able to show him creatively how events unfold to make him visualize it better. She could also basically just tell if a person is lying or not by reading their minds, and then relay that information to Vasa. Something like that. But so I want her to be able to like have an effect on the outside world with her powers. So, but the thing is, she only talks to Vasa, and she's only seen by Vasa. And so I don't think she was there when the rebels were there. She just kind of shows up then. And that's kind of a mystery too, you know? Why does she manifest herself in Vasa's brain? So, I already know the answer to that, but Lucy suggests something about the whereabouts of the rebels based on the clue. But I kind of think that like the visual information that Vasa can see, Lucy can also see, you know? So that's kind of what I think. But she can also read minds. So that basically gives Vasa the power to ask a child in his mind to read the mind of someone else, which is why he thinks it's a ghost rather than a... And also she can read his mind, so he can talk to her with his mind. Maybe that's how he realizes that she's not a normal person at first. And whenever one of the policemen say, "I don't see anything in here," he realizes then that only he can see Lucy too. So Vasa picks up a clue, and Lucy suggests something about the whereabouts of the rebels based on the clue. And so I need to figure out what that is, what the clue is, where the rebels are hiding. And yeah, it's quite a bit of information that I'll probably have to figure out. We can come up with something. Anyway, so I'm gonna write some bullet points quickly because this is the first chapter. Vasa and the detectives, the Japanese detectives, eventually find the whereabouts of the place. I want to include a discussion. Vasa has a discussion with Hana about her merits, about his opinion of women, and it might be like women are strong yet graceful, because he's a very Russian man, and so his opinion of women are based on Russian women, which inspires her to show things based off of her merit. Because I want to include her internal struggle. So Hana opens up the Vasa. Yeah, so Hana opens up to Vasa and discusses her internal struggle with being a poster child for the regime. Vasa responds by giving her his opinion of women in Russia from a Russian perspective. And this inspires her to act in a way that is so this is going to be like a moment between Vasa and Hana that's just going to be shattered whenever she sees him kill the rebels. And whether or not she belongs on the force. That could be true. What's related to a warehouse? What would or factory? What would a factory? Because factories would be popping up at this point in time because this is during the post-war economic miracle. So it could be a vehicle factory. So he discovers what's a stick shift, right? So what's the ball thing that people use in cars? So a piece of machinery. Machinery. And Lucy's in a way that inspires her to act in a way which will be shattered later. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a ball or something. Maybe it's like, so, okay, so Lucy sees the ball and starts playing with the ball, you know, conjuring up balls, pretending to juggle, failing at it, and then she takes it, she puts it on the little stick car thing and pretends to drive around in her little car thing or something, you know, like, because she can just conjure up things and use it in her mind. And so Vasa sees her playing with a car, and that's when it like clicks that he's using that's a piece of machinery for the car. That's the handle for the gear shift. Yeah. So discovers a piece of a ball, a metal ball. Would it be a metal ball? Hold on, let me look up gear shifts. And we could also include an old car. So yeah, like this sort of thing. And would it be a ball? Yeah, so it's just like this part, like this little thing. They're trying to figure out what it is. Let's look at an old car gear shift. An 80s car. Japanese car gear shift. Yeah, so to him, originally, it just looks like a... It looks like a ball on a stick. Yeah, and he's trying to figure out exactly what it is. Oh, I need to figure out what kind of car we should use that has a similar sort of gear shift model in the 80s. That was produced by Japan. Yeah. And so originally, like, maybe she tries creating her own versions of them and just like juggling them because she thinks it's like a juggling thing, and then she fails. She's like, oop, that doesn't work. And so maybe she makes it into a sword or something and pretends to fight, and he gets really distracted, but he just kind of ignores her. And then she plays with it as if it's like a car. She like sticks it in an area and like and she crashes into the wall. It's like, and he's just like, stop, hold on. And then it clicks, like, jing. I was like, oh, it is a car. It's a car part. So, and then he notices the numbers and stuff, right? So like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 R. So, but I don't know if there's like a specific one for a Japanese model. Like these ones that like poke out here. Or I'll have to look up 1980s Japanese car. Okay. Here we go. That's a YouTube video. 80s and 90s. I'm not a car guy, but let's see. Ad blocker. Okay, cool. I need to go back. Also ad blocker. Cool. Mitsubishi is Japanese, yeah? So Subaru? Nissan, definitely Japanese. Okay, I guess we'll go with Mitsubishi. So 1980s Mitsubishi car. And then let's just go with this red one. Here's the 60s. And let's just do an early one. Yeah, the Gallant, whatever that is. Cool. Cool. Looks nice. Let's do the Gallant, whatever that is. Gallant E, what do we call it? It's gear shift. Is it gear shift? I don't know. Yeah, that's just the ball. Okay, cool. Yep. Perfect. Okay, so he finds this on a metal stick. That'll work. Let's do that. Yeah. So. A metal ball with numbers and the letter R on it. A ball, a black ball attached to a metal rod. With numbers and the letter R on it. He tries to think of what it could be. And Lucy plays around with, what are they called? It's not hallucinations, they're, I guess they are in a way, but it's, visages, something like that. Apparition, that's what I'm looking for. With apparitions of the thing, of the clue. He tries to think of what it could be, and Lucy plays around with apparitions of the clue, juggling it, pretending it's a sword, and eventually... how about we make the Mitsubishi Cordia instead? It was how they were introed in America in 1982, and we can show how that changed with the timeline changes. Ooh, okay, sure. Mitsubishi Cordia. Mitsubishi Cordia gear shift. Yeah. Oh, it's got a weird symbol on it too. Perfect. Not a weird symbol. I'm just blind. Yeah, basically that. And it's just the metal rod with the thing on it. Yeah. That's perfect. Very cool. That's a perfect thing for that. I'm gonna go ahead and move that. If this is the 80s. Wow, they have a whole Wikipedia article on it. Yeah, that's perfect. That's a perfect timeline. Yeah, that could work. Alright. So, where was I? He tries to think of what it could be, and Lucy plays around with apparitions of the clue, juggling it, pretending, and eventually pretending it's a gear shift in a car. She drives around and hits a wall. Which causes Vasa to realize, That it is indeed. A gear shift. Okay. They get it analyzed. They don't need to analyze it, do they? Would it be popular? So maybe one of the policemen realizes that the gear shift is of a Mitsubishi Cordia. Good. Okay. That works. That's good. I like that. Ugh. Cool. Though, if you were to see a gear shift as a person, would you immediately know that that's a gear shift? Like, I don't know if I would, but like, maybe Vasa doesn't drive very often? I don't know. Anyway, that's cool. Anyway. Requires to act in a way that's in a way that doesn't deny her femininity, but also aspires to help the team. Okay, Vasa and the Japanese whereabouts of the place of the rebels, a Mitsubishi of the child. Sorry. A Mitsubishi car factory. Okay. Because they're blue-collar workers. They're rebels. So, that makes sense. Next. The child is dead. Vasa, after the capture of the rebels, executes them, and to the shock of Hana and the other policemen, ending the chapter. Executes them in a bout of seething rage. Okay, good. That is chapter 1. So, to recap, Vasa's introduction to Japan, Vasa's meeting with Hana and the other policemen. Hana briefs Vasa on the situation. A Japan Socialist Party politician's son is kidnapped by rebel forces. He doesn't have much time as the child has a degenerative disease. What did we decide that was? It was, Frederick's anaxia? That could be one. I don't know if that can be treated. I'll just put a degenerative disease. It needs constant medication to survive. One of the rebels is a doctor, and seeing this child slowly die, he decided to leak information about where they're storing him. Yeah, Frederick's ataxia. So I'll put that in parentheses. Possibly Friedrich's ataxia. And needs constant medication to survive. One of the rebels is a doctor, and seeing this child slowly die, he decided to leak information about where they're storing him to the police. They go on a raid against the rebel forces in a house used for storage that turns out to be empty. Due to the urgency of the situation, the policemen split up to different rooms to try to find the boy, and Vasa discovers Lucy. Lucy goes bang and pretends to shoot him with her fingers. Vasa quickly puts away his gun and pretends to be shot. During this experience, Vasa quickly realizes that he's the only one who can see Lucy. Lucy shows him her imagination and creativity and conjures up many different creative apparitions, I'm going to say that, to show her powers to Vasa. Vasa doesn't know if Lucy is his own mind coping with a previous trauma or a ghost of a girl that's following him. While thinking this, Lucy reads her mind. Lucy reads his mind. Lucy asks Vasa a lot of questions during their first meeting, and in answering them in a story-like metaphorical way so she can understand, he reveals bits and pieces of his tragic past. After the interaction with Lucy, the policemen check up on Vasa, and he says that he thought he saw something. Vasa discovers a black ball attached to a metal rod with numbers and the letter R on it. He tries to think of what it could be, and Lucy plays around with apparitions of the clue, juggling it, pretending it's a sword, and eventually pretending it's a gear shift in a car. She drives around and hits a wall, which causes Vasa to realize that it is indeed a gear shift. One of the policemen realizes that the gear shift is of a Mitsubishi Cordia. Hana opens up to Vasa and discusses her on the way to her internal struggle with being a poster child for the regime and whether or not she belongs on the force, or in the force. Vasa responds by giving her his opinion of woman from a Russian perspective. This inspires her to act in a way that doesn't deny her femininity, but also aspires to help the team. Vasa and the Japanese detectives eventually find the whereabouts of the child, a Mitsubishi car factory. The child is dead. Vasa, after the capture of the rebels, executes them in a bout of seething rage, to the shock of Hannah and other policemen, ending the chapter. Very good. All right, so this is where we're going to stop for today. I'm going to need to, because I need to do my visa renewal stuff, and it is like almost 1:15, and the place closes at 5, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So thank you for joining me today on the stream. I'll be back next Thursday, or I guess Friday in Japan, but Thursday in America, Thursday night, Friday morning in Japan. So yeah, thank you for joining Imagine Rejector. I appreciate you and all the help that you've given. We're going to go into more detail next time. We're going to do the page by page. So next time, page by page. All right. Very, very, very big thank you to Imagine Rejector and Caleb for hopping in on the stream. And I'll catch you next time. All right. Sounds good. All right. Yes. Cool intro chapters that shows off Lucy's powers, teases Vasa's past, and Hannah's arc. Happy to interact. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. I'll see you next time. All right. Bye-bye. Have a good night. Bye-bye.